What is up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then it's just welcome to my channel. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you will not be disappointed, child, unless you just got bad taste. And if that's the case, girl, it's alright. You're not the only one, okay? It's people out here who think Beyonce can't sing. Y'all, again, I think I said this in the last video, I am in a great mood. I hope y'all are having a good day, good week. Y'all in a good mood too. If not, I hope this video or, spending your time with me at least brings a little light and enjoyment to your day or your week. I actually don't have much to ramble about or anything to ramble about in the beginning of today, so let's just go on and get into today's story. My eyebrows are so thick now, but just something in my soul will not let me not add anything to them. Todd Kohlhepp was born March 7th, 1971, making him a Pisces. And he was also born in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, so y'all can pretty much share the blame on that. He's a Florida boy. He was reportedly a very angry and violent child, even from infancy. Since he touched down in the world, Sis had a chip on his little shoulder. In preschool, he was rough with the other children. He would oftentimes physically try to harm them, fight them, bite them, kick them. And when he could not get to the other kids, he would destroy their little property. And that was just equally satisfying to him. Just a horror to the other kids. While they were building blocks and being entertained by all of the little toys and things, he got his little thrills out of biting, kicking, and scratching all of the girls and boys. Which y'all know me by now, so y'all probably already know that meant everyone. His parents did not have that great of a relationship, and so when he's just 2 years old, they get a divorce and decide to go their separate ways, and his father moves to Arizona. Now his mother finds love again, and Sis gets married the very next year. That's what I'm talking about, mama. Don't waste no time. Mama gotta have a life too, Jody. She got herself another man, she fell in love, and she got married again. But see, Todd did not like his stepfather. Hell, he didn't like anybody. His stepfather had 2 children of his own, and so this caused a lot of issues because we know how Todd is with the other kids. He is muy violente, which caused a lot of problems in their household, and he never got along with his stepdad. And this caused a little bit of a rift between his mother and his stepfather because his mother, she knew some issues were going on with her son, but that was her son and she still kind of loved him. And so her defending his actions sometimes really put a strain on her relationship with her husband. Now, did little Todd hate everything? Seemingly yes. But he especially hated living in the household with his mother and his stepfather. Despite the fact that since his father left, he had not really heard from him, he would beg to go live with his father instead of being in the household with his stepfather. Todd's mother enrolls him as a Boy Scout, hoping that maybe they can instill some good characteristics into her son. Hopefully they can soften him a bit, teach him about, camaraderie, sportsmanship, and all of the things, right? Did not work. He gets dismissed as a Boy Scout right away. I didn't even know they were kicking kids out of the Boy Scout program. They kicked him out for being both disruptive and destroying his own clothes. Honey, as the years go by and little Todd gets older, his temper only continues to progress into full-blown rage. At the age of 9, his mother decides, you know what, I can't do this alone, child. Let me try something different. And she enrolls him into counseling. She is hoping that the counseling would get to the bottom of what is making her son so angry. Why is he like this? And hopefully they can also fix it. He is only 9, but he is completely out of control. He is explosive. And in addition to his anger issues, Sis has also developed a very unhealthy obsession with sexual content. Now, I felt like this was telltale signs of abuse, but I could not find anywhere that he had been inappropriately touched. So I don't think that was going on. If it was never talked about. And I feel like with everything that was talked about, I think it would have come to light. His fits of rage always seemed to be unprovoked, just completely random and uncalled for. And in one instance, he takes a hammer and destroys his room. Just tears it up, girl. Ain't paid for a thing, but tears it up. In addition to being cruel to his peers and his family, Sis was also cruel to animals. Child, one time he took a goldfish and dropped it in some bleach. Child just killed the goldfish for nothing. He was a sick little kid. According to his family, the only emotion that they ever saw from Todd was anger. His poor mother felt like that was the only emotion that he was just capable of showing at all. That's the only thing she ever saw from her son, anger and discontent. And she just could not understand why. She became so afraid of him that she would lock him in his room at night and then put multiple locks on her own bedroom door out of fear that her son would come into her room and do something to her while she slept. Now, as a mother, she does not give up hope for her son. She does continue to try to get him professional help, and does so by deciding to admit him into a psychiatric hospital. He spends 3.5 months there where they try to get to the bottom of his fascination with adult content and, of course, his anger issues. He is only 9 at this time still. Once he is released from the hospital and returned home to his mother, she quickly sees that that didn't help anything. He is still the angry little, freaky little child that she sent away. And at this point, she is tired and desperate. And so she sends him away to live with his grandfather. Now, his grandfather was reportedly very abusive. Yeah, he needed some discipline, but y'all, it's a difference between discipline and straight up, abuse. And his grandfather was very much the latter. He does not stay with his grandfather long before he is sent back to live with his mother again. And child, all along, he has been asking to go live with his father still. It has been about 8 years since he has last seen his father, and he is still asking to go live with this man. At age 12, his mother and his stepfather, they get a divorce, and he finally gets his wish. What he has been asking for all this time. Child would have sent him to his daddy the first time he asked. He goes to Arizona to live with his father. The father has been made aware of his child's issues and what he was getting himself into, but he was up for the task. He felt like, this is my son. He just needs his father in his life. He is up for the task of taking in his son and getting him together. Except Papa wasn't all that together himself. He had this fascination with weapons. He also liked to blow things up, and he doesn't see the issue in using these interests as bonding opportunities for his son. So he is teaching him all of the things. Imagine us finally getting to see what Sid's father looks like on Toy Story. Child, and he's just a bigger, badder Sid. That's what they were given. You know what? It makes sense why Sis was not trying to allow her son to go live with his dad, child. I get it now. Despite all the things that they have in common and how well they're getting along, their relationship quickly deteriorates when his father begins dating a woman, and Todd begins feeling like, okay, you're neglecting me, like you spend more time with her than you do with me, and I don't like it. At this point, he decides he wants to go live with his mother again, but child, mama was living her best life, and so she always had a reason as to why now just isn't a good time for you to come back, son. Not right now, maybe later. Now, with his father out doing his own thing and spending time with the ladies, and his mother telling him he can't come back there, he is feeling like neither one of his parents really want him. Child, why am I thinking of this man?
Why do you act like that?
Like what?
The way that you act, you don't see how you act why people don't want to be around you?
Well,
Look how you act.
Very much what Todd was given. And see, Todd had a little crush on a neighborhood girl that lived 3 houses down. She was 14 years old. He at the time is 15, so she's just a year younger. And we know what Todd gives, so it's quite understandable why Sis's feelings were not mutual when it comes to him. She did not see it for Todd at all. On November 25th of 1986, while his father is out of town, he goes down to this girl's house. At the time, she is home alone babysitting her 2 younger siblings. He takes one of his father's pistols, enters her home, and forces her back to his house. He ties her up, puts duct tape over her mouth, and assaults her. Afterward, he walks her back home, warning her that if she told anybody about what happened, he would kill her 2 youngest siblings. Fortunately, this is not enough to scare her into silence, and she does call the police right away and report the incident. Todd is immediately arrested and charged with kidnapping, assault, and committing a dangerous crime against children. And although he is only 15 at the time, he is charged and tried as an adult. He is offered a plea deal where he can plead guilty to the kidnapping charge and the rest of the charges will be dropped. He blames his actions on all of the stress from his parents' divorce, that it had affected him so negatively he couldn't help but to walk down here, kidnap this girl, and do what he did to her. Ultimately, he is offered a plea deal where if he just pleads guilty to the kidnapping charge, all of the other charges will be dropped, and he takes advantage of this. But being as though he was tried as an adult, he is still sentenced to 15 years, and he is also forced to register as an ex-offender after his release. During this whole court fiasco, he is psychologically evaluated, and it is determined that he has borderline personality disorder. He is also given an IQ test and scores a 118, which is considered above average. The judge on the case had this to say about Todd. He is advanced intellectually, but is also behaviorally and emotionally dangerous and likely could not be rehabilitated. Todd's probation officer also made similar comments about him in his court paperwork, saying that he felt like the world owed him something and he was very unlikely able to be reeled back in, child. He was a lost cause, pretty much. Now, Todd goes to prison acting up. As soon as he gets in there, he begins racking up violations due to violent behavior. He eventually does settle down. He actually enrolls into Central Arizona College and does quite well with his education, earning himself a bachelor's degree in computer science. In August of 2001, after serving 14 of his 15 years, he is released from prison and he immediately relocates to South Carolina to be with his mother. He gets himself a job as a graphic designer and he's doing pretty well. He also goes back to school and earns himself a second bachelor's degree, this time in business administration and marketing. In 2006, despite him being registered as a you-know-what, he gets himself a real estate license, child, after lying on the application, saying he didn't have no felonies. He goes on to build an entire firm. He has over a dozen agents as employees working for him. He is very successful and is even recognized as a top-selling agent in the Carolina region. Todd also goes for his private pilot license and purchases several properties out of state, making money moves like Cardi B. He saves up a lot of money that he's making from all of these investment properties and his business doing so well, and in 2014 he purchases nearly 100 acres of land for a little over $300,000. He then surrounds the property with a fence that cost him an additional $80,000. So sis had a little money. Todd appeared to have gotten out of prison, gotten himself together, turned his life around, and was accomplishing major goals. But this is just how things appeared on the outside, because he was very much still fixated on violence and adult content. People who had done business with him, they found him to be extremely outgoing, to have this lively personality, to also be very knowledgeable about his business. But he will also make them extremely uncomfortable, making unnecessary sexual innuendos, speaking excessively and randomly about firearms. The people that worked with him and for him will oftentimes walk in on him watching adult movies, and he didn't bother to turn it off. It was as if he was watching the news. He was not bothered, and he was not about to put it on hold for them. And this was a very common occurrence. He could watch it while working, child. He could get the job done while two people just went at it in the background. Todd had begun collecting firearms illegally, and he had a nice little stash. Once he got a little bored with that, he develops a new interest in motorcycles. He decides that, you know what, I got the money, so why not go out and buy myself one, a nice one. In the fall of 2003, he goes to Superbike Motorsports and purchases himself a nice bike. But after taking it home and failing to get the hang of riding, he decides to take it back and just get his money back. He's like, you know what? Nah, this is not what I thought it would be. It's a lot harder than it looks. I'll just take a refund. Child, when he goes in there and tells those people that he could not get the hang of riding and he wanted his money back, they make a joke out of it. They're laughing at him, mocking him for not being able to ride. And they also refuse to issue him a refund. Todd did not like any of this. He is actually more bothered and triggered at them mocking and laughing at him than he is about the fact that he can't get his money back. Child, his eye gets to twitching. He becomes filled with rage. And he suddenly pulls out his firearm and shoots everyone in the store. The owner, his mother who happened to be there at the time, a mechanic, and the store manager. Literally everyone in the store. And then he walks out as if nothing had happened. There was no one around that had seen what he had done. It wasn't until later when another customer comes into the store and discovers them that the police are called. There is no evidence, and surprisingly, there was no security footage either to show what had happened to them. So police are completely lost as to what happened. The place had not been burglarized, so it was obvious that that was not the motive behind it. They did not know what had happened. Meanwhile, Todd goes about his life as normal. Fast forward 13 years, and the case remains unsolved. Now Todd, who is a little bit older now, is down to the local Waffle House harassing all of the nice, attractive young ladies. The waitresses there were actually so disturbed by him that they would not even take his order when he came in. They would not seat him, serve him any of the things. The male staff would actually attend to him just to keep the waitresses from having to deal with him and his shenanigans. I don't know why they didn't just ban him from coming inside, but they did not. And he was a regular there, so they regularly had to deal with his mess. One of the waitresses there by the name of Megan, he was extremely attracted to. She was this young, pretty 26-year-old girl, and she was extremely uncomfortable by his presence. So much so that when he came in, she wouldn't even look his way. Despite her attempts to completely disregard him, he still would make these nasty little comments to her and make advances toward her. And of course, she was not interested in him, but he just was not accepting of that. Now, somehow, Todd becomes acquainted with Megan's husband, Johnny. Johnny is looking for a means to make some extra money. And so he and Todd discuss a job opportunity working at his property. Now, Todd says that it is a job for 2 people. And despite how uncomfortable Megan is made by Todd, she feels comfortable enough to go there and do the job with her husband. Her husband reassures her that, he'll be there. Nothing is going to happen to her. They'll just go there, do the job, and be on their merry way. But unfortunately, that is not the way things unfold. They show up to the property to do the job, but unfortunately, in reality, there is no job for them to do. It is just a ploy for Todd to get Megan there on his property. Once he is successful in luring the young couple to his home, he immediately shoots Johnny, promises Megan that he has no intentions on harming her. He handcuffs her, holds her captive, and tells her anything that she wants, he will bring to her. At this point, he isn't even sure what his long-term plan is for her. He just decides to wing it. Now, according to him, her requesting Little Caesars pizza, Dr. Pepper's cinnamon rolls, and Newports every day was irritating him. That was already getting underneath his skin, and when he comes home one day and catches her trying to set the place on fire with one of her Newports, he decides to go ahead and end her life on Christmas Day. This was about a week after he had taken her captive, and her family and friends had reported her missing, and there was a search crew, but they could not figure out what could have happened to the young couple. The following year, in August of 2016, 30-year-old Kayla Brown and her 32-year-old boyfriend Charles Carver are hired by Todd to clean his home in preparation to be put on the market. They show up to his home ready to work, and then they seemingly just disappear from the face of the earth. On August 31st, they are reported missing, and authorities do what they can to try to locate the couple. They go to their home. None of their essential items have been taken, so it's very clear that they had not run off. Furthermore, they had a dog together, which they referred to as their child, and the dog was still there at the apartment. So their loved ones knew by that alone that the couple just did not go off by themselves, that something terrible had happened. Their front door was left unlocked, but the house was completely undisturbed. And Charles's car was not there at the home, so they figured whatever happened to the couple had to have happened while they were away from the home. But still, as time goes by, investigators don't get any closer to figuring out what had happened to them. Then, oddly, a little over a month after their disappearance, a post is made to Charles's Facebook page claiming that the 2 of them are okay, and then it is quickly deleted. But it's not deleted before many of their friends and family saw it, and so one of Kayla's friends writes on Charles's Facebook wall and asks, "Where is Kayla?" And strangely, Charles's page makes a series of responses. The initial response to that is, "Kayla is with her husband Charlie," seemingly referring to himself in third person. When asked why she had not made contact with any of her loved ones and her friends, the page responds, she doesn't want to. And then a comment is left saying that the people that need to know that we are okay know that. Now, no updates are made to Kayla's page. There is nothing posted since August 27th, which was before their disappearance. Then after that, the strange cryptic messages and posts from Charles completely stop. A little over 2 months go by and still there is no sign of Kayla or Charles. But investigators are getting closer. They received the couple's phone records and discovered that both Kayla and Charles's last cell phone activity came from Todd Kohlhepp's property. On November 3rd, they go out to his property. He is not home, but located on the property, there is this huge green shipping container. And as they are getting closer to it, they hear sounds coming from inside. When they open the doors of the container, they are shocked to see Kayla there, chained up by her neck, her hands bound behind her back. She is hysterical and she begins telling them about what had happened, how he had lured them there, and how he had killed her boyfriend. They get her out of there, they extend their search throughout his property, and they quickly locate Charles's car that had been obviously hidden from plain sight. According to Kayla, he had also buried Charles there on the property in an area he referred to as his personal graveyard and has shown her the graves of his previous victims as well. He had told Kayla that he did not believe in forcing himself on a woman, but he made it very clear what his intentions were for her. She was there for his own personal gratification, and refusing to perform anything that he asked her to do will result in her being buried right next to Charles. So for the past 2 months, she had endured a horrific daily routine, being removed from the container, taken into another building where she would then be fed. She would then have to perform whatever fantasy or request that he made of her, and then he would take her back to the container and chain her up, and this would happen twice a day. So once in the morning, again in the evening. He would remind her daily that if she wasn't useful to him, he would not have a need to keep her any longer. He would then dispose of her and simply move on to the next girl. Todd also tells her that if she is a good girl, he would teach her his skills, how to kill and all of the things, and she could one day possibly become his accomplice, his partner in crime. He had bragged to her about the motorcycle incident and boasted that he was officially a serial killer. And now he had goals of getting his victim count into the triple digits, and that he had already had it in the high double digits. Before Kayla told the authorities this, they had no clue that he had any connection to the motorcycle store incident, and they never would have suspected or even connected the two crimes because they're not similar at all. They searched his online activity, and y'all, he had purchased most of his products that he used for his victims from Amazon. Not only that, because I mean that's pretty normal. That's not the kicker, child. He had also left reviews, these weird, cryptic, strange, morbid reviews on all of the products. One review of padlocks said, "Solid locks, have 5 on a shipping container. Won't stop them, but sure will slow them down till they are too old to care." Girl, wait. He left another on a knife that he purchased, saying, "Haven't stabbed anyone yet, but I am keeping the dream alive, and when I do, it will be with a quality tool like this." He had purchased a folding shovel, and he left a review on that saying, "Keep in car for when you have to hide the bodies and you left the full-size shovel at home. Does not come with a midget," which would have been nice. Like, excuse me? Now, it does not take them long at all to locate and arrest Miss Todd Kohlhepp. Initially, he does not say a word. He is refusing to talk, and they continue the search. They are presenting all of the evidence to him that they are finding as they are finding it. Once they unearth the rest of his victims, he finally tells them that he will give a confession in exchange for the opportunity to speak with his mother, give her a photograph of what, I don't know, and transfer money to the college fund of a friend's child. I guess that was nice, but whatever. Kayla also warned police that she did not know who Holly was, but whomever this woman was, Todd had plans of going after her next and was looking forward to his opportunity. They find out that Holly is actually his long-term girlfriend, this woman he was having an affair with, because she was married. When they speak to her, Holly said she had no idea that he was into all of this. He was always very nice to her, very kind to her, and she was in love with him. She had actually lent him some of the money to purchase the shipping container and had come to the shipping container before he started keeping people in it and had actually walked through the shipping container. But at the time that she had seen it, it just looked like storage. He had told her that that's what he was using it for, storage of random things, like he would use a shed. She was also shocked to find that he had plans of taking her out too. Now his confession was something else, child. He had no remorse. He did not feel bad for anything that he had done. When he spoke about the motorcycle store incident, he spoke about it like it was a game of Grand Theft Auto. He tells the detectives that was one big building and I cleared that building in under 30 seconds. You guys would have been proud. Sir, wait, nobody is proud of you. And they're just looking at him like, sir, are you crazy? He then laughs and says, I'm sorry, but you would have. Like, you guys would have been proud. When they ask him what drove him to that point, like why take their lives, he said that he did not like the way he was being treated. On May 26, 2017, Todd pleads guilty to 7 counts of murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 1 count of criminal assault. Now, this was a part of a plea deal that allowed him to be spared the death penalty. He instead receives 7 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. Now, his mother stood by his side throughout everything and offered excuses for every act of violence perpetrated by her son. She claimed that he was not a serial killer, quote, because it's not like he went out daily and killed somebody. There was a lot of time between the first ones and the others. That's what she said. Now, she did apologize to the families, but in the same breath, she would defend him and minimize his actions. Since the day of Todd's arrest, he maintained that there were many more victims than what they had found on his property, but no other victims were found. In December of 2017, he writes a letter to the local newspaper, again saying that there were more victims that had yet to be discovered, how he had told the police, he had told the FBI, but they completely brushed him off. Yet he has refused to give any additional information about any of these victims, like where to find them, what happened, what their names were, anything. He just says that they exist. So a lot of people don't believe him. They feel like he's just lying and he's just trying to claim more victims because, of course, he had this goal of getting this huge victim count. He didn't get the opportunity to get there, and so now he is just trying to make believe like he is there. However, there are how many unsolved cases out here in these streets, so he could very well have more victims out there. Who knows? Besides him, I guess. Now, y'all know he had all of these coins, right? Well, after he takes his behind to jail forever, the families of the victims, they sue him and they actually win a lawsuit that resulted in his possessions being auctioned off just last year in August of 2020. And the money from the auction, of course, is used to pay out their awarded amount, which I don't think was made public information, but I'm not sure, child. I ain't gonna lie, I did not look and see. What do y'all think about little Todd, honey? You know what I found extremely unsettling about Todd, in addition, of course, to all of the horrific things that he had done, was the fact that, okay, look at this picture right here. This looks like 2 different faces put together. Like, if you cover up half, it looks like one face, and then if you look at the other half by itself, it looks like a completely different face, except maybe these 2 people are brothers. But for whatever reason, to me, I felt like it was weird and unsettling to my spirit. Like, is it just me? Am I the only one seeing this? Can't be. That is pretty much it for this story on Todd Kohlhepp and his horrible life. You guys are gonna get this video pretty early because on Thursday I am taking my niece school shopping, and my sister and I are also taking her out to have a little fun, and so I'm doing this video earlier. I'm gonna upload it for y'all early because I love y'all. I ain't gonna make you wait. Like I said, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Pay your tithes on the way out, girl. Give me a little tip, a little thumbs up. Share the video with a friend, a coworker, anybody. Let me know your thoughts down below because I know I know you got him. A lot of psychologists said that they feel like Sis was just born bad, that he just came like that, fresh out of the bag. But I don't believe that. I think he had a predisposition. I think that's the word I want to use. Predisposed. He was predisposed to like anger and violence, and that's just what he leaned toward. You know how they say some people wake up and choose violence? Maybe Sis was born and then chose violence. I don't know. But anyway, as always, I appreciate you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace. Child is itching up under this wig, girl. Oh, girl, why am I putting eyeshadow face down to do my eyebrows? Don't tell me it's gonna be that type of video. Alright, motorcycle girl, going about your business. He got a thrill out of spiting, kicking, and biting. Spiting. Did I say spite? What the hell is spite? It's like spitting and biting all in one, I guess. Child, one thing about Blue, y'all gonna hear him snore. He is determined. Blue, they supposed to hear you roar, not hear you snore. To be very knowledgeable. Not you licking your whatever you licking back there in the background. Despite her attempts, Todd becomes acquainted with, I almost called Mary. Who is Mary? Who? And so one of Kayla's friends, he also tells her that one review of the products, girl, no, padlocks, to be spared the death penalty, girl, without the puerility, girl, without the, what is the word? My little love muffin, it's time for you to get a bath. You starting to smell like a corn chip muffin, but you cute though, whatever. Why are you squinting like this? Blue, don't be trying to put on your sexy face for the ladies. He trying to give y'all that. They ain't here for that. This your family. I don't even know if Blue is in frame, but honey, he gets up here in my lap and acts like he just so tired, like he been working a double shift. Let me get him off this camera because he'll be asking me for a little paycheck for his cameo.